Hi everyone. Okay, so we are still in Module 3, Topic 1, Lesson 4. We're on Talk the Talk pages 393 and 394. So there's a lot of this that occurs in Mathia, so I kind of wanted to go over this with everybody. So it says, identify the property or operation used to rewrite each equivalent expression. So we have to just kind of pay attention to what are they doing here and why are they allowed to do it? Like what is happening that causes that to be done. So we start with this given expression, 10 times 4x, which remember is 4 times x, plus 3 times the quantity of 2x plus 1. And the next step, it looks like 10 times 4 has parentheses around it, and then the x. Then everything else stays the same. So basically, so this 10 times 4 times x is really that. Now, we've been saying we don't really put the multiplication between the 4 and the x, but truly it does exist. So in this line here, all they did was said instead of doing 4 times the x first, they're going to do this. But when you multiply, we know you can switch that around. That's called the associative property. I'm just going to say PROP, property of multiplication. So for example, 2 times 3 times 5, we can do it this way, and we're going to get 30 because 6 times 5. Or we could do 2 times 3 times 5, and we get 30. 3 times 5 is 15, times 2 is 30. So that's what's going on here. And then next they're telling us multiplication. So they did 10 times 4 to get 40, and then it's still times the x. Everything else is the same. So then I see a 6x here, and we didn't have that here, so it looks like they did 3 times 2x to get 6x, and 3 times 1 to get 3. So that is the distributive property. Had a brain freeze there for a moment. And then they went from 40x plus 6x plus 3 to 46x plus 3, and that is combining like terms. The like terms being the 40x and the 6x. Okay. Okay, make sure you have a moment to write that all down. Okay, and then moving on. So we have 20 plus the quantity of 6 plus x plus 7, and that's our given. And then here it looks like they switched around the 6 and the x, and that is allowed to be done because it's the commutative property of addition. So we can just flip those. I think about it like this. I see the word communicate, and here I think about the 6 is kind of doing the talking first, like communication, and here the x is doing the talking first. I think of this one for associative property because here the 2 and the 3 are kind of the buddies hanging out together or associating with one another, and the 5's kind of the guy on the outside. And here the 3 and the 5 are the ones associating together, and the 2 is kind of the guy being left out on his own there. Okay. And then after the commutative property where they just flipped it, then they did change the parentheses from there to here because it's all adding. So now they're using the associative property of addition. And then what what do we do here? So we have 20 plus x plus 6 plus 7 to 20 plus x plus 13. So it looks like they just simply did addition of the 6 plus 7. And then we have x plus 20 plus 13. So it looks like they just flipped around which one was going first between here and here. So again, commutative property of addition. Commutative prop of addition. And then they had the 20 plus the 13, and that is just through addition. Now, we don't always go through and do all of that switching around. It would be fine for us to go from the 20 plus x plus 13 right to this last line, because we know we can combine the 20 and the 13. Okay, last one's pretty interesting. So our given is 7x plus 12x minus 8 divided by 4 plus 5x. And right away, notice in the second line, there's no fraction anymore. So what is happening? We have this 12x minus 8 over 4, and it changes into 3x minus 2. So we have this right here, and then it ends up being just this part right here. So this is called the distributive property. It's really kind of division. Distributive property is really all they say, which is different than what we've seen like up here for the distributive property when we do the 3 times the 2x and the 3 times the 1. The distributive property of division, it allows us to simplify a division problem, which this part here is a division problem, by breaking it apart or distributing the numerator into smaller amounts to make the division problems easier to solve. So what it essentially did is 12x over 4 minus 8 over 4. 12x divided by 4 gives us the 3x, and 8 divided by 4 gives us the 2. So that's where that all comes from. And then from there, it looks like we just did 7x and 3x minus 2 plus 5x, so it looks like we combine like terms. And then here it looks like the 2 and the 5x switch places, so commutative property of addition. And then it looks like we combined like terms again for the 10x plus the 5x. Okay, excellent. Pause if you need to. Page 394. I love this problem. This one's fun. Rewrite 2 times the quantity of x plus 5 minus 4 divided by 2 minus x using the fewest terms possible. Okay, so let's do this. Let's see what we're going to do here. So the first thing we're going to do, I'll rewrite the question. Let me rewrite that first, just like that. And hold on just a moment. I just need to. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is distribute the 2 to both the x and the 5. So we would end up with 2x plus 2 times 5 is 10 minus 4 divided by 2, and we still have that minus x right there. Okay, so from there, what are we going to do? What would be next in simplifying this? Yes, so we could do 10 minus 4. So this is distributive property. And then we could do 2x, 10 minus 4 is 6. Still have that minus x, and that's just simply subtraction. And then here's kind of what we had just in this previous one. We can take this fraction here and break it up into two smaller ones. So 2x over 2 plus 6 over 2 minus the x, and that's distributive property. It's kind of like in reverse, because normally we're used to seeing it with multiplication, but here we're going reverse with division, but it's still called the distributive property. And then from here we are going to actually divide. So 2x divided by 2 gives us x, plus 6 divided by 2 gives us 3, and then we still have the minus x, so that's division. Now we can combine our x's, so combine like terms. So x and minus 3x. We could kind of, I guess I better squeeze another one in here. I can see where we can go right to the combine like terms. They really want me to rewrite it like this, where I switch these two around through the commutative property. Of addition. Then combine like terms. So x minus x means the x's just go away, and I have 3. Okay, so we get that down to just an answer 3, just a constant. There's no variable left this time, which seems kind of odd. It seems kind of odd, but let's check it. It says to check using another representation. So let's pick a few values of x to put into this original expression and see if we end up with 3. Okay, so let's say if x equals 0. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite this, substituting 0 in every time I see x. So 2 times 0 plus 5 minus 4 divided by 2 minus 0. So 0 plus 5 is first in parentheses, which gives us 5. Rewrite everything else. Okay, so then we have 2 times 5 is 10 minus 4 divided by 2 minus 0. So we have 6 divided by 2 minus 0, which then gives us 3 minus 0 for a final answer of 3. Okay, so that worked. Let's try another number. I think I'll have room to put maybe one more on here. Let's try something bigger, like x equals 5. Okay, so the original equation, I better rewrite it here because it's out of the view. Okay, so anytime we see a 5 or an x, we're going to put a 5 in. So 2 times this x would be 5 plus 5 minus 4 divided by 2 minus 5. Okay, so there's a minus sign there. There's kind of a glare. I'm going to use a pen. So, why did it get blurry? Okay, there we go. So inside the parentheses, we have 5 plus 5, so that's 10. I'm just rewriting everything else. Okay, so 2 times 10 is 20, minus 4 divided by 2, all of that minus 5. 20 minus 4 is 16. I'm going to slide it over here. I'm going to need the room. 16 over 2 minus 5, which would then be 16 divided by 2 is 8 minus 5, which gives us 3. So the equivalent expression for this expression right here, it simplifies as the number 3, which is kind of crazy. So I hope you had fun with that. Let me know if you have questions.